Your chords are good.
Yeah, look at you. You set them up beautifully.
Asking nicely, that's all.
Mine are still good, right, Bret?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
You've always been good.
Yeah,
oh my!
thanks, I love it.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow.
Candice
Sorry,
is-
I'm here.
She's the delinquent.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm here.
Wow. Sorry about your luck. All right. Well.
Alrighty. So, are we gonna get to having a shot, or what? What should we do? I'm scared. Don't know.
I always
what
wait for you to say the words.
To say it.
But you're also on your phone,
Yeah,
so
I know. It's a little bit
Tagging.
distracting.
pretty rude.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
I am rude.
Yeah.
I am 1 in a billion.
Wait a minute. We got to do the shot first.
Why? Let's play it. Let's
I made
go.
a mistake.
Okay.
I forgot.
Wow.
No.
We
And
get to hear that again?
I gave you shit.
Yeah,
so
but at least you owned it.
I
Cheers.
apologize.
I own it. I
Yeah.
own it. Cheers. You
Okay,
don't have
cheers.
to touch us. Just
Cheers.
stare at me.
Look at the
Stare
eyes.
me.
Oh.
All right.
Ooh.
And now,
Candice.
Candice
That was
is
a
a
life
pretty sounding
lesson.
name.
Yeah.
See what I learned there?
Really one in a billion.
Oh,
I like
love
life
you
lessons.
So much, Candice.
Who's Candice?
So Kristina, I'm sorry about that.
Mental characteristics
Yes.
somebody with the name of Kristina experiences.
Kristina, Kristina.
You're Bret, right?
Oh, yes, you did.
Yes, you did, Bret. You tried to
The Modern Matters podcast with Candice, Kristina, and Bret.
Yes. And we get to go again. I enjoy our time together, guys.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the table, and welcome to those of you tuning in. It is your girl, Candice.
And Kristina.
And me?
Mr. Bret, our tech guy. Today we are discussing judgment. Should be fun.
This is America's favorite high-protein cereal.
Talk over this is fine.
Oh, okay.
Also has 8 essential vitamins.
Special K. I saw it. Is this for me?
Yes.
I love it, guys. Look, how thoughtful.
You
Thanks,
might
Bret.
assume
Yeah,
that
it's
this
for
is
me?
me trolling you,
Yeah.
but it's really us shilling for sponsors.
Oh.
Hi, Kellogg's.
Hi, Kellogg's. Special K. I really thought it was about
Look for the big red K.
It's both.
But
I can't think of a better
It's a
better
win-win.
spokeswoman
Yeah.
for such a
Yes.
quality product than
Yes.
look into the camera and say Kellogg.
Kellogg, the best food around.
Perfect.
Is it not Kellogg's?
I think it's Kellogg
Okay.
because this commercial's from 1971.
Oh.
And
You see?
they had the president or something introduce it at the beginning, and he said Kellogg.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Well, and I would like to say that I say that I'm Special K because I thought it was such a good, wholesome thing.
Yeah, as in
Right.
that's the Kellogg cereal.
That Kellogg. Yes.
Lo and behold, in our first episode, Kristina quickly learned that Special K is not often associated with the cereal.
Yes.
However,
more the
we
drug.
get it.
More the drug. But you know what? You guys teach me so much.
Oh, we
all
all
the
teach
time.
each other
I'm
stuff.
always learning.
We do teach each other.
Yes, we do. Does anyone have any circle backs to previous episodes before we roll into it today and discuss judgment? What do we have? Anything?
I don't think I do.
All right. Well,
I have something small I made for everybody, and Kristina kind of inadvertently offered this to us.
wow.
Oh.
I'm building the soundboard, and
can't
a couple
wait.
episodes ago I used it arguably too much.
Oh.
And
Is it Doomer?
that episode. And Kristina made a couple things that I've isolated so that we can use them in the future because I couldn't find the actual sound effect.
Can't wait.
So we have this one. Which is great. We need to use that more, I think.
That is compliments of
good.
Special K
That's
over
compliments
here.
of Special K.
Legit stuff.
So until we get a real wah wah wah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
You did great.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Thanks.
People are
I
gonna
worked
bite
hard.
that.
I worked hard at it.
And you also introduced
Oh, is it going to be the
No, it's actually.
wow.
I want. It's
Because there
gonna.
was an episode.
Oh yeah, I need to do that. I didn't write that down actually.
That's the Canadian call. That's what that is.
Yeah, there
the
we go.
call of the North. I can't believe you guys didn't know that. You guys teach me special K stuff, but I
He
teach
knew.
you wholesome.
Oh, yeah, I
you
knew.
did.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
did.
for sure.
I
You
just
didn't.
didn't.
It's like a little out of my age category slightly, but I knew I
man.
saw reruns on
Yes,
CBC.
that's
They
fine.
always had it on CBC.
No judgment, right?
So we have a segment.
out of his age range, says the guy who just played a 70s Kellogg commercial.
Yeah, I know.
1971.
It's okay.
They've been around for a long time.
That was
I've-
even before I was born.
I found quite a few of them. So you guys constantly give me grief for video topics and things
As
not
much
being
shit as we
so
can possibly give you.
so on the
sorry.
nose.
Yes.
But Kristina actually kind of categorized an area of video that I think we should do moving forward, and that is
Why would you do that?
why would you do that? We need to be able to identify a regular video on topic to a video that's more asks you the question.
Why would you do that?
So can we get into a quick example?
What is happening?
So let's see an example of our first ever.
Oh my God, I'm
first-
gonna cry. It's so funny. Okay.
This is the video. This is a video that is classified under the category of.
Why would you do that? What are you doing? Look at him.
No, it's why would you do that?
Oh, why
Not
would you
what are
do
you
that?
doing? You've already made a
Oh,
mistake.
yes.
This
Oh,
is
look at his
horrifying.
lips. Oh, my God. That goes with the lip
Expla-
injection.
Explain what's going on to those that are
Yeah,
just
anyone
listening.
who doesn't tune in to us by video, the why would you do that for today is a gentleman who thinks it's just wonderful to eat the comb, the honeycomb with bees all over it. So he's actually eating honeycomb with bees.
Right from the source.
His lips are injected.
And his lips
so
are
you could,
massive.
if you don't have money
right
to
now.
get an injection, just go eat a
So there's the answer
honeycomb.
to
There's the answer to.
Why
Why would you do that? Yeah, that's the answer. A lip injection. That's what you're looking for. Oh my God.
All right, well,
Yeah.
that's
That's all I have.
quite the
So-
circle.
Thank you, Kristina.
You're welcome.
thank you.
Those are authentic. They're the real thing right there. Oh,
Beautiful.
My God.
Absolutely.
So speaking on the topic of judgment,
I feel like we're in court. Right
I don't know what courtroom you've been in.
Yeah, or the Avengers. Either or. Is it the Avengers?
Or Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh yes, that would be perfect.
Guys.
That would, you nailed it.
we should have known better.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's
agree.
give a couple examples of judgment. Okay, I have a question. I like starting out with a question. Do you, both of you, two, think that all humans are judgmental?
Yes.
Inherently, yep.
Inherently, but they have to, like, this is the awareness piece to try and pause it and catch yourself when you're.
Yeah, I try not to be judgmental, but I realize it's hard to get around because we judge. We do.
Yeah, we do, but I think when we don't actually catch it, then it can be pretty bad, right? Like even with myself, I say that I don't judge. I try not to judge. And there was something that was irritating me. I saw a video of a coach who I really didn't believe should be a coach, and because they didn't have the experience to go behind it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really bugging me, because I think that if you're going to follow someone, you would hope that you're following people that have actually gone through things, right? And that they're going to give advice. But then I caught myself that I'm judging that situation, right? Like, who cares? Like, just step back. Whoever, you do you figure out how you're going to do it. But it's, you innately kind of go into that judging space until you can catch it.
And again, there's like a variation with judgment. Like all of the topics we touch on, or any topics that can be discussed between humans, is there's a degree in which judgment can be. So you could judge someone positively. You could judge something very positively, or judge something more harshly and negatively. But how do you feel when you get the feeling that you've been judged negatively?
I think I would like to ask you that question.
Oh, come on. I was first.
No, because I have it here too.
Whoa.
What do you feel like when you've been judged so long ago and these things surface up now? So,
Okay, I'll go. Bret, you want to go?
Nope, you go.
yep. Go, Candice.
Okay.
This is your baby. Go.
How I feel when I am judged. So I feel as though someone's judgment of me should be none of my business, really. But somehow
easier
if
said
you
than done.
find out that someone's been judging you, I think the time that I am most triggered is when someone judges me and I feel that the judgment is so inaccurate and unlike who I know myself to be and who the people who care about me know me to be. However, with that said, I think that judgment can always be looked at as something positive and maybe just a working piece for us. If someone feels that you're a bitch,
Yeah.
right? I've,
I
had
think
that be
you can
called
be-
on me that I'm a bitch, right?
Yeah. Or like a Mary, like a Karen, like
What?
there's so many.
Well, I mean, yeah, people have said to me, oh, I always thought you were a bitch. And I'm always a little taken back by that because I do think when you're thinking of who you are and who you try to present yourself as to the world, I don't try to come off as being a bitch ever.
Well, it came out.
It came out. So I can be upset with that, or I can sit with it and think, how can I portray myself more accurately and more in a way that I would like to be portrayed? And there and again, you can't worry so much about people's judgment all the time because people judge things off of a plethora of nuggets about who you are or what you may represent to them through an individual experience. And there's a lot more to us, I think. So I don't particularly think anyone enjoys being judged. I'm not very good at accepting negative judgment that I don't see as being accurate about myself. However, I know it's going to exist. So, hey, you just use it as a learning piece. That's my take.
Sorry for calling you a bitch earlier. That
You
was
did?
me that
It was
you're
the
talking about.
judger. Yeah, but
No, I didn't.
what's with this
You
whole
did
like
not.
I did.
you're a Karen, you're a Mary, you're like there's other ones.
Like that judgment?
Yeah. Like
I have no
that's
idea, really.
judgment.
Actually,
like
how did those even come about?
My kids will tell me like you're a Chad.
I don't get
You're
any
this.
of those.
Those are like they're all judgments, right? Like, oh, I think a Karen is like a white female mom.
I honest to God do
think.
not know.
I don't know that it has a race or she has a race really. I think
Really?
it's- Yeah. Wait, but probably.
I think
Mainly,
she
yeah.
does.
You're right.
I'm not too
You're
sure, guys. This is like just talking about current issues. I don't know if you've heard people use these references.
I hear the reference and I get what they're getting at, but I find them extremely.
I see a wide spectrum. I see
they're
like
weird.
there's some of them don't really fall into that category necessarily. I think that I
Well,
see.
even like that one clip, you said that guy was considered a Chad.
Yeah, which is
I don't even know what that means. Again, don't know.
Yeah,
he rules. He's very
he's the man.
very comfortable with himself to the point where he can make a music video.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a judgment.
Yeah, go.
Names are often judged because when you say Chad, I'm sorry to all the Chads out there. I don't know why my association and judgment goes to a total like, hey, like I'm Chad.
That is a judgment.
Is that a Chad?
Yeah. No, that's a judgment. That's a
That
judgment.
is a judgment.
It's
Like,
a total
hard.
judgment.
Shannon, what is his name? Shannon.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah, that's who's Chad in my head. That's how I judge him.
Okay.
I don't
You're a
know.
I
babe.
guess it's close.
And then,
Yeah.
in our generation, if you hear a name like Brad, you think of like, ooh, he's like kind of like Brad Pitt. That's the association. So there's
you mean
judgment with
Brett or Brad?
Brett, I mean, that's awkward.
When you hear
Stop.
Brett, you think of some dude that'd be wearing a pig shirt.
Yeah.
To be
and always a hat.
and always
always
a
a
hat.
hat.
Okay, what do you got? What do you got on judgment? Give it to me.
Well,
Why am
I
I the
just-
only one that
I just think
Talk
it's
so open.
interesting. Like I would say, I wanted to know if you have an example where you've been the judger.
why am I being called out here?
Brett.
Of course.
Okay.
I've judged. I'm not gonna sit here and say ever that I've not judged. I've definitely judged.
So let's talk about something that you've judged on, or you, Bret. What have you judged on?
Candice's scarf when I first came in. I wasn't sure about it. at first. And then after she put her ensemble together, I went, it works.
It works.
Ding.
It's
So topical.
right.
It's the judging a book by its cover. I have been so incorrect in life with, I'm actually usually pretty bang on, I'm going to say, about my judgment of people and their character. And when I say judgment, I'm not speaking to something negative, but I can usually gauge the type of person someone is just off of a feeling. I know that might sound strange to some people. My intuition is strong. However, I have been wrong. There have been instances where I've judged someone based on their physical appearance and then been completely wrong about that individual.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I know that I have been judged.
That wasn't the question.
I have been judged many times, but it's a part of understanding that you're either going to break that pattern or not. Like, I know this was a pet peeve for me in corporate, in business. I was a female who was in a senior level role, and I had heard comments after the fact that I was judged that the only way I got in that role is because I was very promiscuous in the office, which is not true. But that bothered me because you judged me on my appearance and success and whatever, and you wanted to just put it in a bucket, right? So to use that example, or any example, when people are judging to that, to the point where you're looking at someone else's life and you're trying to knock them off their game, it's really about you at that point, right? It's not about those individuals, whatever success that they're in. Instead of being happy or, celebrating whatever that is, because you're not there, you choose to knock them down. And when we understand that concept, and you can stop yourself, like, this is about you, not that individual. Because what happens is that you start, if people are judging, then it turns into like herd mentality, and then a bunch of people get into that conversation. And it can be pretty hurtful. So if you want to be your authentic self and you want to elevate above it, then you gotta catch it and then stop it before it turns into something.
I think also it might come down to it's a bit of a reflection, like you were saying, on the individual themselves. And I think when you're judging, you're really judging somebody against yourself, right? That's where your judgment is coming from. This is how I am. This is how they are. Probably the more different they appear to you, the more judgmental you might be, without even trying to do it too much. Because how much would you be judging somebody who's pretty identical to you, right? Like,
I think sometimes that's when judgment is actually really there. And I think that speaks to insecurity and self-confidence.
Okay.
I don't know. That's just a thought I had as you said that. But have you been judgy, Kristina, since I got called on
I called out that I was judgy about something that I saw.
That was him. I'm joking.
That was Bret.
What were you judgy on?
I was judgy about when sometimes I would see people doing stuff and I didn't realize. I've been judgmental sometimes when for me, it's the opposite side, right? Like, I get very much like, when you speak something, I want you to be able to speak it from a place of truth. So if I feel as though it's superficial, I start judging based on that. It starts to trigger me. And then, I have to catch myself and be like, it's not my circus. It's not my parade. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you're focused in on yourself and that you intentionally try not to judge in a way that is hurtful to someone else.
Yeah, I think that the message for today's sort of topic theme that I would love for any viewer or listener to gain from listening or viewing is that if we are going to judge, try to redirect your judgment into something that is a little more positive versus negative, because it is more self-serving to look outwardly and have opinions or judgment of people that is positive, especially when you're going to share that with others. It's one thing to form an opinion or create a judgment around an individual or a scenario that happens and keep it to yourself as sort of your indicator as to where to set a boundary. But I also think that if the message gets out today, one for sure should be that when we catch ourselves judging, try to judge things more positively so that you put out positivity in the world and then can receive some of that back. And that's even a nugget for myself today.
Well, and I put that even in my book. It's like sometimes when we look at someone, so let's say, for example, someone's really overweight, or someone is dressing really provocative, or, I don't know, someone's super slim. Let's use weight, for example. We look at them and we can judge, right? So the judgment typically would be like, oh, that larger person's so lazy, they don't work, they can't get themselves on track. But we don't know what their story is behind the scenes, right? We don't know if they have a thyroid issue, if there's other issues that are going on. But when you look at it at a glance, then it's very easy to cast judgment. All I'm saying, as we've said today, is like, or the super thin one. We don't know if someone is suffering from, anorexia or whatever. I'm just using really broad judgments here. Or, like it can be for anything.
It could just be a body type thing too. So it's as simple as who are we? To make that, to formulate the answer. It's not, it's not really just a simple math equation. It's people's lives. It's their individuality. It's a body type. It's
true.
And irrelevant.
Right. And then we judge ourselves, which is even worse, which we can go into later. But I know Bret has some stuff for us.
I know. I want to see this one.
You're good? Earphones are good?
Yes.
I can turn you up or down, that's all.
No, okay. I'm good. As soon as I saw you post on our screen here the Superior Court jury duty, it made me think of how
I know where you're going.
How
Speaking
thrilled
of judges,
people are when they get jury duty selected.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Although I
being
just want to
judged,
point one thing out.
yeah.
I would have loved to have been on jury duty.
Oh, I was
for
gonna
Johnny
say-
Depp's trial.
Yeah.
have you guys done jury duty in your life?
I've been to court many times.
But
As
not for
a
jury.
As a juror?
This circles back to Candice, and I cut you off in the last episode where you said, and I heard it in the edit, and I went, we should have taken the ball and run with this. Kristina said, I broke a lot of rules in high school. And this all makes sense.
No. Like that court as in for employment law, stuff like that. Not necessarily because I'm a gangster.
But no, have you been...
Okay, I just want to let
You just
everyone
listen
know.
to the music.
Yeah.
Have you been a juror?
I have not been a juror.
Have you been a juror?
Recently, this
I know.
year.
I know. Brett was so excited when he
Oh,
got
how
that
was
piece
it?
of
Did
mail.
you get picked?
And excited is like a loose term.
Yeah,
for,
very loose.
For irritated sometimes.
Yeah.
I didn't get picked, luckily. So I had been misplacing the... Not a summon. What do you get when you get the initial? You have to fill out the information, right? And I had moved, and
anyways, he
whatever.
missed it, and then he had to go for the selection.
Then I
and
got
he
one.
was
I got
thrilled
pinned.
when they did not select him.
Do you think it's because you have a beard?
No, it actually had nothing to do with that. The timing worked out wonderfully. That it was the Friday of a long weekend, and went in and went through the whole process and was waiting with everybody else, and they came in to announce, and they said, regrettably, I was the only one that audibly cheered. They said, because it's a long weekend, the judge made the final jury selection last night. They all stayed late. The lawyers and the judge stayed late so that they wouldn't have to work today or whatever. So everybody was excused. And then they gave the details of the trial, and it was something like 7 weeks minimum or something is what they kind of assumed it would be. And they didn't give any like the specifics, but they, for whatever reason, they tell you the time. And that's where I went, oh, imagine I couldn't work for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in that regard, and that's a lot of
and
what.
You get jury pay, which is not very good.
Only if it's up to a certain time that you're offering you're available for
it's
your.
like $25 or something.
Something I forget. They explained it all. I watched a little video in prep for it because I went, oh, this is what happens when you ignore the information form that they give you, is that you're gonna get pinned for sure. Yeah. So, but yeah, people
forget about your civil duty. You don't want to get pinned.
When you walk in, they're basically like, here's the things that will not excuse you, and it's all the things people commonly think. So, this gentleman went to a whole new level though. And I give him credit.
So sitting in the jury pool, it's like 7:30 in the morning. Oh yeah, I got lots of stuff to watch on this TV, huh? This is gonna be some kind of special.
I am waiting to clear out 2 more courtrooms. Once I have an answer from them, I'll let you know. I am going to send you to lunch right now, and I'm going to have you be back in this room at 5 minutes of 2.
So my plan now is to go to the bar. I don't think there's any way they can put me on the jury.
Guy's
Genius.
This guy's going to the bar.
That's a strategy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. He's really doing it.
He went hard.
Yeah, he's getting lit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's ready.
They ain't gonna want to have any part of me.
Yeah.
So you are free to go. You'll get something in the mail in 7 to 10 business days saying you were here, okay?
That's it?
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Woo! Yeah.
So I never thought of that.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
that's
that.
a real plan there.
You go to the bar and tie one on the lunch break, and now you're not fit to serve.
Yeah.
So,
Very clever.
yeah. Good on you.
I mean, jury duty and the whole court proceeding area of judgment is woo. That's
Oh, yeah. Really,
I've been part of proceedings myself, not as a juror, and I would not want to sit in that chair.
I've been a witness.
So
I'll let you know.
For work.
Yeah, no, yeah, for work. And being on the stand is brutal. It's like in the movies.
Oh,
like
I can imagine.
when cross examination happens, they want to rip you apart.
Yeah. I mean, Candice and I bring it up now every episode, the Johnny Depp trial, but I watched it so in depth and kind of put myself in some of the witnesses' shoes, and I went, I don't know if I could handle that.
Yeah,
like
man,
it's
intense. They purposely try to get you fired up.
I get all of that, but I will say from my personal experience, if you are being truthful and you're not the one at any type of fault, court is very easy in the sense of you just have to speak the truth.
And
right?
you have to pay attention because in the Johnny Depp trial, there was a lot of questions that were a little bit misleading, not misleading, but they were presented in a way that really made you think.
Oh yeah.
And
they twist it.
Yeah. And so the people were like, I'm trying to rationalize what they're asking. And then when the people would get fired up and be like, that's not what I asked. And the people are like, why, what are you asking? Like, why? They just don't ask things in a way that regularly you would be asked questions.
And what happens is that sometimes when people are on the stand, because I've been through so many hearings, to be honest, like with employment law and all this stuff, people will want to speak and they just run with stuff. And then it's a lawyer's heyday, right? They'll be like, "Oh, keep talking, keep comment," right? And then they're actually getting themselves so caught up in whatever they're saying. They could be speaking truth, but the other side's trying to, discredit him or her. So
imagine I had to tell a story, Candice.
Oh God, I can only imagine you in a courtroom.
The last one,
the judge would be like, "Okay, can we hit a recess?"
And giving too much information.
And then I wore a red sock.
What did you say the other day? I walked with my feet.
I walked
it was
with
important
my feet.
I was
because
like,
what was
red socks
happening later
on,
in the
brown
story
shoes.
involved not walking with your feet.
Well, which would not then be walking.
Most
anyhow.
most of my
or
stories are
floating.
constructed with foreshadowing in mind. So
Okay,
pay attention to that.
It's depth.
All right,
There's depth
sports.
there.
Speaking of bad stories, this I'm gonna redeem myself because I already brought this up in a way earlier episode and I muffed it up so badly by saying the wrong name that we cut it from the episode, right?
Okay,
so
yeah.
I want to re-bring up Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge.
Not Jeter.
62, not Jeter, Judge.
Yeah.
Judge. Judgment. See, this is how I remember.
Clever.
Well
Play
done.
on words. So smart.
Outside of his record-breaking 62 home runs in a single regular season, which he just broke in this past season, this was his 9th home run of the season, hit off of Alek Manoah of the Blue Jays. That was popular in the news for this reason.
Left field, a long home run for Aaron Judge.
So pay attention to the stands.
His 9th of the season.
I'm watching.
The upper deck.
The Yankees have tied it.
You see this little guy who got the ball.
Happy.
He has an
He's
Aaron
crying.
Judge jersey. He has a Yankees hat.
Aww.
And so in this next clip, they'll show you what actually happened.
I'm just looking at Aaron Judge's booty.
Focus, Candice. We're trying to talk about something here.
Don't be looking for wedding rings.
Stop
either.
judging here. Judging body parts.
And it's hard for hitters to square them up.
That's a beautiful hit.
Oh, yeah. It's Aaron Judge. Come on.
Judge was on it.
So we got a Blue Jay fan that caught the ball.
the sweetest thing ever.
Look like a Blue Jay dad.
Look, he's like crying.
I mean,
So
he's
sweet.
not only a Yankees fan, the young boy, he's an Aaron Judge specific fan, right? So.
Oh my God, and that little boy was just so unbelievably grateful.
Yeah.
That could almost make me cry,
Yeah.
guys. That kind of caught me.
If you pay attention, it looked like there was somebody crying in the background.
It's beautiful.
Which would be
You
me.
with
Maybe.
the-
You never know.
with the shot glass?
When I watch it, I get that, but it
When
just,
you have
it
kids,
doesn't
you'll
come
cry.
down.
You'll cry.
I hope
We're
so.
gonna get it there.
I hope so. So this is just quickly, we'll talk over. We don't have to play this whole thing, but this was the next game because it took over that the news cycle for that day.
Yeah.
And so they allowed him to meet Aaron Judge, both the Blue Jay dad and the.
That is
that's so lovely.
Oh my God, I could cry. That
Yeah.
gives me goosebumps. That's
Look
human
at
at work.
Look at him. He's so
This man catches a ball and gives it to a kid. That's his hero.
really nice.
And when he was interviewed, so here's Aaron Judge.
Oh my God.
He just can't not cry.
He's so
Oh my
how
God,
sweet.
I love this kid.
And the poor little kid, he got interviewed for the news, and he goes, I was overwhelmed with emotion. I couldn't
and
not
he gave
cry.
him his gloves. Oh.
In the Bronx when Toronto
I love
boy's
this so
awesome.
much.
He's like, I got to get a picture.
Oh, he wipes the tears away and
That is amazing.
Kudos to our camera crew for
That is
That's
really,
beautiful.
really
So they ended
special.
up giving him both this Blue Jay fan and the Yankee fan, the boy,
Yeah.
tickets to the judges' chambers, which they call in New York to fly out for a game there, and they can both sit in that box and
how
appreciate all that
lovely
kind of
is
stuff.
that?
So, yeah, it really show. I mean, the thing about it that I thought was great, and I think everybody else did too when it happened earlier in the season, was that it just shows the Toronto fan, like, these are two different, cheering for two different teams. Now, the Toronto fan cheered right away when he caught the ball, and then he immediately realized, no, the ball goes to this young kid.
Unlike that other episode
Yes.
that we
Awesome.
saw. Yeah, that's actually
that.
beautiful. And you got to remember, they were complete strangers.
Yes.
that's a good redemption.
Right?
That's a good redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, I think
I
that's
didn't
pretty
say
good.
Derek Jeter this
Yeah.
time, like I did last time.
Maybe it was,
Endlessly.
it was meant to call on this clip.
I
but
don't-
It's a good one.
Oh gosh, I know when.
All right, so this one's this will be shorter. This is just like a music recommendation because I just discovered this band and I'm very into them.
Okay.
They are, so we don't have to
Look at
watch
that
this whole.
shoulder.
So
Did
if you
Wow.
tune in only by audio, you should definitely take a look at the YouTube
The
channel.
shoulders. Yeah.
So
Sorry,
some-
I mean focus. Tattoo.
Some of the videos are,
Yeah.
some of them are
Oh.
funny, some of them are a little bit more,
Yeah.
more aggressive. But
All right, they're
so
judging this guy.
This is Viagra Boys. Okay, so
I just
They-
went off about the shoulders. Mm-hmm. Tell
and
us
they
more.
are
Look at
they are
this guy.
subverting judgment. So really they are putting forth a message that basically on a topical level somebody might judge, which is kind of what they're after,
Yeah.
right? They're like, okay,
saying
this.
that this guy can't handle this. Oh.
I mean, I'm not even talking about this video. I'm talking about them as a band in general.
Oh.
It's almost like they're a concept band, but not really. So, speaking to their most recent album called Cave World, it is kind of like a new Devo, right? So you remember Devo from the late 70s and 80s? It stood for de-evolution. They were the de-evolution of man. That was kind of, it got lost on most people who kind of just thought, oh, I like that Whip It song, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the,
Whip It.
the main
Whip It
song, right?
real
But
good.
most of the lyrics, most of what they were talking about was the de-evolution of man and how we've devolved from monkeys, right? So that was kind of their shtick. So Viagra Boys are very much in the same vein as that, and they fall into a classification known as meta-irony, in that the lead singer, the other members of the band, the way that they act, you're almost, it blurs the lines of, do they really think this way or do they not? They're acting like this in real life, in interviews. The messages that they're talking about within the music is mass shootings, keyboard warriors. Have a whole song about sitting at home or sitting at work and thinking about, I can't wait to get home into my basement and write about people I hate online, all that kind of stuff. So it's really, it's topical. It's showcasing what's really going on, but in that meta-ironic way where the lead singer acts like this too. When you see him in interviews, you're like, are you kind of like a sleazy rock and roll guy, or
are you playing
incredibly
off of
intelligent?
it?
That's very, and I think the answer really is he's a bit of both, right?
Yeah.
And the band is a bit of both. But the music itself is well done from a music standpoint, I think. You have to like post-punk. That's kind of the genre that it falls in. But it's the messaging, and it's inviting judgment. They really are like, they're dealing with such serious issues that I know a lot of people are kind of sick of listening to in the news and stuff, but they're doing it in a very artistic and creative way, which I think, and I always really respect art that does that makes you think, has a different layer, has something to think about outside of it being good music. Now, you have to like the music. If you like Celine Dion or something, you're probably not going to like Viagra Boys, but even the name itself is kind of a pun on man's inability to procreate, right? We've devolved into now we need drugs in order to
boys,
do our
right?
basic...
Using Viagra and then boys.
Yes.
Like that. Viagra
well, and they're
boys.
very toxic masculinity is what they're talking about.
100%. Yeah.
Which is where people go, whoa, I don't like this, but when you dive into that meta irony of it, you go, are they being masculinely toxic, or are they bringing attention to it, which I believe they're bringing attention to it. And so I like them. I'm into them. It's a music recommendation. If you don't like post-punk, obviously you're not going to like this, but it's really well done. So just a quick one. That's one of their music videos, which is a little bit funny, but when you see them performing on live, so this is how they kind of came into, they've been now doing the late night circuit.
Okay.
When you see them, you go, oh, these guys really kind of, their appearance is kind of thrown together in a way that fits within the narrative that they're talking about within their songs, right? So I know Candice is not going to like this. I can tell right away. She's like, put Aaron Judge back on.
Well, Aaron Judge is nice to look at, but these guys are artistic. I still love artistic stuff.
Yeah, I really like them. So that's Viagra Boys.
All right.
They're from Sweden originally.
I was just going to say,
Boys.
they seem like they are definitely not like American.
Following the norm. They're kind of...
The lead singer, I think his name's Sebastian Murphy. All the bands from Sweden. He was born there, and then he lived in the U.S. for a little bit. So his accent kind of, he brings it up in interviews quite a bit that it's a crossover, and people kind of can't put their thumb on it because he's lived so many different places or whatever.
Right.
But really intelligent. Even their interviews, I dove in because I go, so the new album's called Cave World. Mm-hmm. They have a song called that one that they were just playing. It's basically all about basically that de-evolution, right? But when I was listening to the interviews, I'm figuring they're going to actually talk about that, and he's kind of just like, if that's what you think it is, then that's what it is. Like the tattoo on his forehead says loose.
Yeah.
And so he's like, that's kind of his motto. He's like, I'm loose.
It's hard not to judge based on that. See, Candice, I catch myself because if I see that, then I think like the tattoo with the teardrops, someone has killed someone.
Is that
like that's judgment. Maybe they just like tears.
No, I think if you have a tear tattoo on your face, you need to have killed someone.
I think,
well,
yeah. Well, I mean,
sure. Maybe, Bret, we can get you one for...
Nope. I think that would get me killed.
Well, I think that the videos are spot on today.
I thought so too.
You are definitely not going to catch flack for that one.
I thought so too.
Yes. Okay, he's very happy. He's like smiling here. He's like, yeah, I did good. Yes, you did.
So where are we at? Where are we at with today's episode? Is that the end of Bret videos?
Mm-hmm.
Because
that's
I think
everything I have.
Those were probably some of my favorites.
You're laying it on now a little much.
Yeah,
well,
I feel like it's a little thick. I'm judging right now. It's like, ugh.
No, other times they just feel far out, and I tell Bret, and then he's like, well, fine.
No, I
judge
actually,
my videos.
Yeah, but I really am more intrigued more than anything, like about the exposure of toxic masculine, because I really think that is something that's going on where people need to identify that. And I'm happy to hear that there's bands and there's different ways to kind of tackle it. Like that creative aspect, I think is really cool. So, yeah.
And judgment obviously goes around every single topic. And there are so many topics available to us right now and trending. It's more than one thing going on at a time with our access to everything in the world, right?
Yeah, and this is where you want depth.
Absolutely.
You're getting depth, right? So I think that, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but it's it's one of those things. Yes, there's an access to all of it, but what are you going to do with it? It's not a superficial, hey, there's a post. Hey, that's good. It's like, you got to do work, right? You got to catch it. You got to see it. In the first place, I would say this is like, being your authentic self. Do you judge yourself? And if you're judging yourself, then you're definitely going to be judging other people. So you have to kind of step back and kind of catch yourself when you're doing that.
What about how you're judging yourself?
Oh, totally.
I think the idea is by human nature, we're going to judge regardless. So when you go into that space of, I look terrible or I'm not good enough, you can realize quickly, take a moment to realize you're going into that space of negativity, negative judgment. Quickly recognize and identify that, and then go, okay, I may not be happy with this at this moment, but this is temporary. If I don't like something, I can work at it for the sake of my health, my mental health. I'm on that journey right now with my physical health and the changes that have happened over the last few years. I mean, between the shift in the world and kids and what have you, I'm on that journey myself. And instead of looking within and having negative judgment, I think it's the idea of looking in and saying, okay, how can I improve and what can I do better? Because I think judgment also helps to keep us on our toes, right?
Mm-hmm. I think, does it sometimes even cross over personally when you're directing it inward to self-awareness to a certain degree?
Like having some introspection.
I think it's the introspection game. You should be doing that all the time.
Yeah.
The best time you possibly can spend is with yourself. You got to really love yourself. I know it sounds El Chizo, but it is a real thing. And it's beyond the idea of getting manis or petties. It's like, do you love yourself? How do you speak to yourself? Do you speak with words of judgment or words of kindness? There's a big difference.
I have, I keep going back to having this thought in my mind as we're closing out our episode for today. I just think a message to anyone listening or tuning in is that the thing to be cautious of, especially when we're outwardly judging other people and then sharing that judgment and then having people collaborate with you on that judgment of a person or something, is that we have to be very mindful that that judgment is also based on our own perception, and perception is a very individual thing. And so your judgment could shed an opinion about someone or a situation that is potentially very untrue. So we have to look at some things from that lens. So also when you feel like you have been judged and you look at the source of where that comes from, as you mentioned, Kristina, and we've sort of touched on it, is look at that and just try to use everything, like all of our episodes, as an opportunity to learn and grow. That's the cool thing about life, I think.
Yeah, no one's perfect, and I could go into perfection, how I think that that's a false narrative in itself. It's a journey, right? So if you can actually be kind to yourself and catch yourself and just provide kindness, I know it sounds cheesy again, out there to, I know.
I don't think that's cheesy at all.
El Chizo, Chesto, what is it, Chester to the cheetah? Yeah.
Say it one more time.
Cheesy. Mah, mah, mah.
I knew it.
Yeah, it's coming out. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, I know. I didn't do it the same way, actually.
Well, guys, I've been liking the podcast and having this platform because I have been judging myself on communication and talking and growing into becoming a better speaker. So I want to thank you guys for always giving me that chance. Every week we come in here and we get to know more and more about each other and about ourselves. And those of you who tune in, thank you for taking your time out of your day to tune in. And I hope that people get something from this.
Mm-hmm.
If I have time, I'm planning for the New Year's episode to put together a supercut of all of the embarrassing things that each of us have said.
Oh,
so there won't be any of me.
I can't wait.
That's going to be scary.
Yeah. So
yep, it's going to be a good one. That one will be classic.
That'll be your learning.
The end of year recap.
I've done the same thing though. To be serious, that Candice is saying, I'm the same way because it's part of the reason I wanted to do this in the first place. The technical side was what I wanted to learn and do, but the speaking part was like the last part. I thought we're going to have to talk. on this, right? That's kind of the content is the key here. So, and I'm like, as we make fun of my storytelling, it is, my communication is bad. So I do think it's improving slightly as we go on. That it's fun to do. And I enjoy our Tuesdays.
Yeah, Tuesdays are fun.
Tuesdays are fun. And
we
I
should
hope
coin
for,
it. Like, what's
people,
a fun word with T?
Well, remember though, viewers don't
Terminator?
realize.
Terminator Tuesday? Terminating Tuesday?
I hope we're not terminating Tuesdays.
I feel like I need to get my gun.
Oh gosh, the gangster's coming out. The gangster's coming out. That's even
And then
the body
it's like,
language.
it's like the slow run. Oh, now it's stopped. Now I
but
go back.
in Terminator 2, it was the T-1000. He had that fast run.
Yes, I know. And I just remember, maybe it's Terminator 1, but it was a Jeep at the end when Sarah whatever is driving.
Terminator 1, I think so.
I don't
memorize movies. I just like to say I have a Jeep.
Oh gosh.
I figured everybody knew that.
Yes,
that's where you're going.
Yes. Okay.
All right, guys. Well, let's share where people can find us. Of course, our website at www.modernmatterspodcast.com, where you can find all of our social media links, as well as our YouTube channel and listening channels like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And
did you say YouTube?
Yeah, that was the first thing I said. So make sure to just subscribe. And thanks always for tuning in. And we're happy to grow as a group and grow our audience too.
All right. See you later. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. I really feel like I learned from everyone.